Hello, and welcome to The Worm Show with your host, Thorn Jules. Today we're inside, and in the background behind the box of life, you'll see a new toy box that I've made on the left for my new friend and adoptee and housemate Molly, a 14-year-old miniature Schnauzer that I just adopted, and who I'm very much infatuated with. Of course, on the right you'll see the toy box for Billy, my dachshund neighbor who I love also very much. A little bit of DIY in the background, but here we are. We have the box of life, and today we're going to feed the worms. It's been actually a couple of weeks now. Forgive me for the camera work. I'm still getting used to it. So it's been a couple of weeks actually. I have not fed the worms in a little while because I wanted to basically I wanted to, there we go, I'm gonna fix that there, sorry. Give them a chance to actually eat. I feel like I keep feeding them, potentially overfeeding them, although I'm sure that there are folks who would tell me, no, you're not overfeeding them. Maybe I'm underfeeding them. I don't know. Anyhow, I do feel like they're doing okay because every time I have a look, they seem to be very happy. Of course, you can leave your admonishments in the comments for me doing this on top of my rug. In fact, it's actually a brand new rug of all things. Well, new to me, I should say. And I can see that I'm already leaving a mess on it. But anyhow, here we are. So a lot has been going on since the last time I checked in here. The box has this wonderful, wonderful earthy forest floor smell. It's incredible. We have some little fast movers over here and some slow movers over here. We've even got some sprouts going on. I did have some sprouts in the mix the last time I fed these guys, so it looks like some of the sprouts have managed to continue to live on, which is pretty impressive. The last time I fed these folks was on the 31st of October. So here we are, we're 2 weeks away, 2 weeks later, and it looks like there's been a few things going on. Whoop. I suspect that these worms enjoyed their Halloween feeding. I'd like to think so. Here's one here, and here's another one, although maybe I just dropped them off of the cloth I had. This is some of the bedding and the food that I had when I put the Halloween food down. I can't really see much of the food, actually. It looks like it proved popular. I'm not seeing much evidence of... Oh, there's a little bit of stuff here. There's still quite a bit of food going on, and as I move things around, I see that there's quite a few wormies. I'm disturbing the chi around here, I think. But I feel like I kind of have to do that a little bit to move things around and assess where to feed. Because at this point, I must admit, I'm a little bit lost in terms of where exactly I should feed. Oh, don't mean to knock the camera. At a certain point during the filming of this video, I expect a phone call. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so I'm definitely disturbing some worms here doing their business, going about their lives. So there's a limit to how much I want to bug them, I think. But I do have to figure out. Oh, yeah, man. I'm making a mess. I really should not do this over top of my living arrangement. Okay, so Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I smell, like I can definitely tell that there's still food here. And I kind of have to get a sense of where I can make room for the food that I was planning to give them this week. I have a fair bit, so I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it. I've really lost this whole angle of feeding them on the quadrants. You know, feeding one quarter and then feeding another, to remember where I've been feeding them, because at this stage, it feels like a bit of a free-for-all. Or a feed-for-all, maybe? I don't know. I have not been as good at keeping track in terms of that. And it's not been easy to do because, well, I mean, this thing is alive, so I want to make sure that I'm kind of moving with it. Oh, jeez, is that them already? Okay, here we are, part 2. Because I had to go and get Molly from downstairs. Let's see if Molly will make an appearance as I'm doing this work. She must be curious, I'm sure. She'll be curious about the smell, too. And what I'm doing. There she is. Hi, Molly. Molly is a 14-year-old miniature Schnauzer that I just recently adopted. Her last human is 94. And he was not able to take care of her really anymore, like take her for walks and stuff anymore. And she'd been living for the last couple of years at an old age home out by the General Hospital. I mean, not a bad spot, but very far away from everything else, right? Like too far away from the dog parks and all that kind of stuff. So Molly is here now and getting settled. It's been just over a week now, and she's doing really well. What's kind of fun is that she used to live in the area, not too far from where I live. So she is realizing that she's back in her old neighborhood as we go around and as she gets reintroduced to the world. Hi, Molly. Yes. It's been a real blessing for me to have these worm friends over the last several months. It's been so much fun for me to get to know them and to get to know this process and to, learn and make mistakes and all that kind of stuff. It's been such a giving process and I've really enjoyed it. It's meant a lot to me. And I realized that along with my friend, now downstairs puppy friend Billy, that having another creature or more creatures in my life has just completely enriched my life. So I'm grateful to the worms, and I'm grateful to my four-legged friends too. Anyway, that's that. I've made a huge mess, but I'm very curious to see how things will go. The worms are fed. I feel like I should probably put more bedding down on top, but maybe that's something that I will investigate in the next episode. Stay tuned. I've decided I'm going to replace this cloth. It's time for a replacement, and I have the perfect replacement. So I'm going to organize that in a future episode. Now we're going to put the blanket back on, and as I noticed that there are some wormies that are on the blanket, so I want to make sure that they stay on the blanket instead of on my floor. Molly loves treats, but I don't think she's going to want to eat a live one. Okay, so that's that. That's the situation that we have going on with the top layer. Now, let's see what's going on in the bottom layer. It's been, again, 2 weeks since I've opened this. I want to see, first of all, if there are worms making the trip between the two. Yes, they are. I don't know if I can show you. No, I don't feel like I can show you, but I can see that there are worms making the trip between the bottom and the top. I just saw the evidence of that. Okay. And what do we have here? Look at that beauty. What a beautiful worm. So there's a lot going on, and it looks increasingly like they're... Wow, there's still a ton of worms. What are you guys doing down here? Hey? Oh, there's still food and bedding. I can see that. There's still some food and bedding. Yeah, there's still a lot of activity here. Look at all these worms. Hi, Molly. Look at all these worms. So I'm just going to make a mess. I realized that. That's what I'm doing. But I suspect that the worms will fix it for themselves. They will fix the mess that I've caused for them. Because I want to build up this spot in between. The land bridge, so to speak. Although I guess at this point it's less land and more poop. I want to set up the poop bridge between the top layer and the bottom layer. And I think that's pretty well going to work. And then I'm very curious to see how long it'll take before are the worms going to move up and into the next layer? Are they stubborn and I'm going to have to move them by hand? I don't know. Now let's set this on top. Nice and squishy. Yep, there it is. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah. And then, here we go. All right. Let's see. Okay, well, let's see how they go. We'll check in on them again. Thank you very much for watching. Much obliged. And we will catch you in the next episode. We'll be happy to feature Molly again if she's willing to be in the shot. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please click like. It makes a huge difference. Subscribe if you haven't already. I hope that we have earned your subscription. And if not, I hope to see you in a future video where we'll get a second chance. Thanks again, and ciao for now. This has been The Worm Show with Thorn Jules.